What's going on, guys? This is a quick video on how to short the ASX market or how to short a stock on the ASX market. This is the CityFirst website, and here you'll be met with different options of how to trade or what to trade, the types of products. I just choose minis, and you have the exposure to short side, and then you can choose the underlying asset, whether it's an index like the Dow Jones, the S&P 500, or the ASX 200, or you can pick individual stocks like Afterpay, hint, hint, or anything else, AMP, any of the big stocks. I believe these are the ASX 200 stocks. In fact, you can short the currency pairs if you really want, crude oil, gold, you name it, you can look for it here. Now, what we want to do is we want to have a look at, let's say, the S&P 500 on the short side, and we can pick anything here. I've personally got a short on SPF KOV at the moment, so it's got a bit of a high gearing of 88%, and we see the bid and ask. There's usually a spread of only 1 cent, which I find really good. Now you can see the underlying spot price, and you can see the stop loss trigger. Of course, the underlying spot price is exactly the same always, because this is the S&P 500 futures. So we can see we want something, well, I want something that's a little bit far away, because currently the price is 3,082 on the S&P 500. So that's a good 250 points away. So it's very unlikely to get stopped out when it's that far away. I believe that's about a difference of about 7 to 8%. So SPF KOV, we open it up, and in fact I got SPF KOV open here. If I refresh the price, the bid and ask always updates real time. So if the S&P 500 moves up, this goes down. The bid and asks will go down. So we have SPF KOV, and this is using the CommSec platform. You just type it here, SPF KOV, and it will show up. Now this is just an example. This isn't a recommendation to buy or sell SPF KOV or any city warrants mentioned here. Nor is this financial advice, nor am I financial advisor. So moving on, you just trade this like any other stock. You put in an order, you can buy it just like a stock, and you can sell it just like a stock. You pay the exact same brokerage like a stock, and you don't get charged additional fees like options, for example, right? You get charged extra for options. Options decay over time. So if we go to SPF KOV, we can see the strike adjustment changes. So yes, it does cost you to hold this index, or this city warrant. You can see it drops about 80 cents roughly every couple of days. So the funding is relatively cheap. You can calculate that on your own. Now here's how you actually calculate the price, this price here. So we got SPF KOV here. Now we bring up a calculator, and we have the strike price here of 3459. So 3459. We minus that by the underlying spot price here, which is 3076. That's the current futures price of the S&P 500. So if I refresh this should also refresh. 3076,750. There you go. It's updated. It's 3072 now. So we got 3459, which is the strike price. We minus that by 3072.75, and then we multiply this by 1.4521, which is the current FX rate. What this does is it converts the US dollars into Australian dollars. We hit enter, and then we multiply this by 0.01, which is the multiplier down here. And we hit enter, and that's the current price, $5.60. That's exactly how you calculate it. So let's say the S&P drops. Let's say it drops to 3,000, which is an 82-point drop. So we got 3459.262 minus 3,000. That's the price we want it to drop to, or hoping for it to drop to, 1.4521, which is the FX rate. Multiply that 0.01. So for an 80-point drop, we have $6.66. So what do we go from? We went from $5.60 to $6.66, and then we divide that by $5.60. So that is a 20% gain. If the US drops 80 points on SPF KOV, we'll end up with an 18% profit. So times that by, let's say you've got a $5,000 entry, and you'll end up in profit of $946. Ignore that minus sign there. So that's how that works. So this is obviously a leveraged product. So do keep that in mind, and we'll see what it looks like. So it was from 3080 to 3,000. Let's see what that looks like. So we got, I bring up the ruler tool from 3082, which is here, all the way down to 3,000. And that is a drop of 82 points. So a 2.67% drop on the S&P 500 will yield roughly an 18% gain on SPF KOV. Now, do keep in mind that when you're looking for minis, when you're searching for a warrant, when the gearing is lower, your returns are also going to be lower. So effective gearing, the higher it is, the closer you'll be to the stop loss. Now, do keep in mind that this stop loss of 3,331, it is possible to gap over it. Now, you can only trade this city warrant, all city warrants, only during the time of 10 a.m. to 4:10 p.m. I think it's a little bit earlier. I think it's like 9:50 in the morning to about 4:10 p.m. So it's a little bit different, but it can gap over this number. Do keep that in mind. So this isn't a guaranteed stop loss. It's just a stop loss. So that means if we hit, just for some clarification, let's say let me bring up the longer term chart. So it's 3,331 if I recall, which is all the way up here. So if it hits that point in time, again, you do the same calculation. You have a strike price of 3,459 minus 3,331, which is the stop loss. And then we multiply this number by 1.4521, which is the current FX rate, multiplied by 0.01, which is the multiplier. Now, we'll have $1.85. So let's say we entered at $5.60, and we end up with 1.85. Divide that by $5.60. We'll lose a 66% of our position if we end up going to the stop loss. So let's say, for example, the share price, the price of the S&P 500 goes all the way to 3,289 right here, and then the market closes, the ASX closes, and then suddenly it gaps up and hits around 33.80. But your stop loss is all the way over here at 3,331. So about here, that's your stop loss. But the market's closed. The ASX closed here and opens up here. Whatever the price is, when the market comes back open, the ASX opens, that's the price you're going to get. You're not going to get the stop loss price, you're going to get this price here. Now, that's what I mean by no guaranteed stop loss. The stop loss is only active if the ASX is open during trading hours, which is 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. So do keep that in mind. Now, another thing that's a little bit different is if you do get stopped out. If you get stopped out on a city warrant, it will be suspended. You cannot trade for the rest of the day. Now, the price will be calculated the following day, and you'll be able to exit from 2 p.m. and you'll have 24 hours. You'll have the next trading day to exit that city warrant. If you do not exit it, you may get a check in the mail to get your remaining funds sent to you, or it may be transferred to your bank account of choice. Now, if you want to trade city warrants for ComSec, you do have to go into applications. You do have to go within the platform. You have to go to trading or products. I forget where it is, but basically you have to click around and you have to apply for it. It takes about 12 hours to get access to it. You just got to do a digital signature and say, yep, I understand. But of course, do read the PDS, do read the documentation, and do read and try and educate yourself about city warrants before ever executing a trade. This is a leveraged product.